Hi, and welcome back to another episode of my review of Love Island. I want to first of all get comfortable because I don't know, I feel like I look a little awkward. Anyway, I took notes this episode. This is going to be in depth because I saw that I had people asking me, how can I watch a review if you're not on TikTok? So I figured I would just do it very full, well, and thought out and, discuss all the things that need to be discussed. And I just really feel like I look awkward sitting here like this. I don't know. Something is looking a little weird. Um, anyway, let's get into this episode. Episode 29. I feel like I have a lot of thoughts. Let me see if I can show you what I have going on here. Hold up, wait a minute. Okay, I have a good amount of notes. And so let's just honestly let's really get into it because it was a lot happening and like nothing happening at the same time. So first off, Kinsey being shocked by Melanie's vote for compatibility. Um and she's saying to Melanie, she's having a conversation, she's talking about how, she hasn't acted this way with anyone and that her and Dylan are just so compatible. And it's like, girl, girl, you have acted this way with about 7 guys. Honestly, she's talking about how much she has explored in this villa and that, you can't be mad at me for exploring and all these other kind of things. And it's like, nobody's mad at you for exploring, babe. No one. It's just you seem like you will keep exploring. Like, at no point did she ever feel like she was satisfied enough with her couples. At no point. And I don't think that Melanie was wrong for that. I do think if it had not been for and this is what I wrote. I said Kinsey would still be exploring if it weren't for Dylan fake crying in her face, which that is exactly what he did. That man, I think that he's just trying to ride it out to the end. I don't you know, he might actually feel a little something for her, but I don't think as a person who has been watching from the beginning of the season, I genuinely don't think that he truly like they're a strong connection. They're a strong couple. I think that they're like, oh, Casa just happened. We're gonna see if we can take this to the end. I don't think that this is a genuine connection, but that's my opinion. I also don't think that Dylan is Um, genuine. In general, something about him just is a little off-putting to me, and I have no problem with men crying. I have no problem with men showing their emotions and, you know, wanting to make it apparent how they feel about someone or something. No problem with that at all. I just think that it was a little manipulative, him crying 2 days into knowing Kinsey talking about you're still trying to explore with Gaul, and I think that manipulation tactic to me made Kinsey be like, "Oh, let me just go ahead and stop," which is exactly what Melanie was pointing out, which I don't think there was a problem in her doing that. And sincere, sincere, insincere. Yes, I said it that way on purpose. Um, the fact that Sincere doesn't think that his relationship with Melanie is toxic, I feel like is toxic in and of itself. Um, I put people that are in toxic relationships don't think that they are in that until things hit the fan for real. And honestly, I feel like that's very true. I feel like um people don't realize that their situation is toxic until it's something that's overtly toxic. You know what I'm saying? It's like you didn't see the little red flags before or the things that were a little off-putting and just trust in that. Um And I I just I don't know, I feel like he's trying to convince everybody. And then what really got me was that in the next breath after him saying that he's not in a toxic relationship, he goes and he says that he's done lying and deceiving and leading people on. And it's just like, excuse me, sir, are these not toxic behaviors? Are these not the behaviors of somebody who is perpetuating a toxic environment, which would be the relationship? I think he's like 22, 23. So, I mean, there's grace, but some of the stuff he's figuring out, it's like, Dad, you don't know that lying is bad? You don't know that saying one thing and doing another is not good and that these are toxic behaviors? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I I feel like this episode we got to see a lot of Parmita and Corbin's uh what's it called? Dynamic and their chemistry, which I feel like we could kind of see it in the last episode, but the fact that this is the episode. Oh, let me just take you along with me before we get to that point. Um, but Parmita saying that Kinsey picking them was petty and that she's not fully over Corbin is absolutely correct. She's correct. I see no harm in anything that Parmita said when it came to that conversation with Kinsey. I think that Kinsey is still very jealous that she is not with Corbin anymore. And I think, like, yes, in Casa, Corbin said, Kinsey's out the window. That was he had to do all that. And I think he was saying maybe a couple of other like little things. Um And also, I would just like to say that I feel like a lot that whole Casa situation, I feel like we weren't able to really digest what was really happening with like each individual couple because of the entire KC blow up. That whole situation, that was a lot. Okay, that was a lot. And I feel like everything else that kind of happened went under Under the bus? What's the what's the verbiage? It went under the radar. It flew under the radar. That's what I'm trying to say. Um, yeah. So I understand Kinsey being, what's the word? A little off put by him. She was really upset when they came back to Casa or came back to the villa from Casa because she felt like he had just forgot about her and they were saying all these things to one another on the dock and stuff. And it's like, okay, yeah, got it. Um, but I do feel like even though she says, I'm over that, I don't think that she's over it. In the same way that I don't think that Casey is over Anaya. But that's for something else. Actually, let's get let's get into that just a little bit. I feel like after the conversation that Anaya and Corbin, I mean not Corbin, Anaya and Casey had, where he genuinely apologized for what happened and Anaya forgave him. I think that, and they hugged it out. I think that, after they left the conversation, Casey was smiling and he was happy. And Zach definitely pointed out, I haven't seen you happy in 3 days. Like, since they got back to Casa, that man has not been happy. That man did not smile once, especially in them conversations with TT. That man was stressed. But now that he's back in a nice, good graces and, they're cordial, they're cool, it's just like, how, like, you might end a situation with somebody, but, like, they still wanna be your friend, they still wanna hit you up, they still wanna talk to you even though, they did you dirty? It's like, nigga, ooh, let me not cuss, but it's just like, you know, Imma just have to say it. They like, "Nigga, you why you wanna be cool with me? Why you wanna talk to me? Why you still smirking at me? Why you looking at me? Why is that happening?" And I feel like some of that is there, like, I feel like I mean, TT was brought back to the villa with KC because I think that kind of KC wanted to be like, you know, I could pull somebody, I can explore somebody, but I think that he really wanted to get back with Anaya. But now that he sees the connection that Anaya has with Carl, it's like, oh yeah, nah, they actually are compatible and they actually do seem to be pretty solid. But that's just my thoughts on that. Um, but I do agree with Parmita that that Kenzie was not over Corbin fully, and she just wanted to be petty and do something to, you know, try and get them out instead of thinking about everything logically. But I mean, granted, she couldn't really vote herself out because, like I said, I don't think that Kenzie and Dylan have a strong connection. And another thing, so Trinity and Bryce were having a conversation, and they were talking about what happened after the recoupling and the voting out of the other two couples, I want to say. Yeah, because four people went home. So the other two couples, um, which was Gall and Jaden. No, Caleb and Jaden, and Gall and Amora. Yeah, those are the other two couples that left out. Which I mean, honestly, they didn't seem like strong couples to me. I'm kind of sad that Caleb had to go home. I liked Caleb. He was reigning from North Carolina. Shout out to all my North Carolinians. But yeah, anyway, Bryce having that conversation with Trinity and they're sitting on the couch and Bryce keeps bringing up the fact that he's not Trinity's type on paper. I just at this point, they have been together for a full month. They have literally written it out from the beginning until the end, basically, at this point. And I think that he needs to let it go. And even Trinity was like, no, you are my type on paper. I think that he just needs to just walk in that fully. Because if he keeps harboring that in the back of their mind, in the back of his mind, it's going to, slowly affect and etch at the relationship. I feel like because you're still living from that place of like at any moment some black man with tattoos is going to come around here and you're going to feel like that's that's where your girl is going to want to go. And he just needs to, get that confidence up. And I feel like at this moment there have been bombshells in here and there have been people who he has considered her type and that she has even said was her type, that she was like, nah, I'm not looking your way. You're not turning my head. I'm really here and I'm on the Bryce tip, literally, because later in the episode she said that she was on it. Hey now, I mean, they're the only couple in here that's actually closed off and in a relationship, like actually, like that's his girlfriend. um So, okay, period, Trinity, period, Bryce. But I think that Bryce needs to let that go. He needs to let that I'm not your type on paper go because I think at some point Trinity might, you know, it's cute right now, but it's not going to be cute forever. That's it. That's all. And so, Sincere, we cut to Sincere and he's back to saying how he's not in a toxic relationship. And it's truly sending me. Um, he said that that they're not in a toxic relationship, but he's done toxic things. And I literally wrote, I'm questioning what things does he consider to take place in a relationship to make it toxic? Like what is the extreme to which you think that, you know, oh, that's a toxic relationship? To because I just sometimes I really try to step into the mind of other people and understand their thought process because I'm a very empathetic person. I can see things from people's point of view a good amount of times. Like I'm like, I can see how he may have thought that. I can see how, she may have done that or felt this way to be able to do this, especially when you know somebody's history or their backstory or they told you, a lot of things. And it's like, okay, okay. But I think I would need to know. I mean, we have the context outside of the villa of, his mom and the things that his mom says online about, how she is a toxic mother essentially and how she, wants Sincere to be with Melanie because he should be able to handle Melanie because her, meaning his mother, is toxic. And it's just like, oh, okay, okay, okay. So it makes me think, what dynamics has he seen where he can conclude, oh, that's a toxic relationship, that he doesn't see his own as a toxic relationship? Or, you know, he thinks that maybe the things that they're experiencing or the things that they're going through are just, you know, relationship up and downs. And I don't know. For a day, I want to pose as a therapist and understand his mind and really see what he's saying because their toxic relationship, the things that is happening within their couple is toxic. And I also want to say that I am disappointed in the other people in the villa other than Corbin and Parmita because they're the only ones that were pointing it out and saying something about it. Um I watched somebody's review of the episode from Friday, and they were saying how they believe that there has been a spell that has been put over the villa where everybody is on Sincere side. And honestly, it's looking that way. Like even Anaya saying that, you need to forgive him and I'm always rooting for both of y'all. And it's like, at what point do we call a spade a spade? At what point do we say this is what this is? Because what they're experiencing, Sincere Melanie, in that villa is a toxic relationship. And I also would like to say that because, which is another layer onto why I think that Corbin feels the way that he did, which he did state in the episode, was that Sincere's lies to everyone in that villa affected Corbin's ability to explore, I feel. I feel like Corbin really couldn't explore the connection that he had with Melanie because he was trying to be respectful of Melanie, and not only Melanie, but his friend, Sincere. I think that um, had Sincere been truthful about his exploration, his intentions, his connections, that a lot of different things would have gone differently in the villa. I also feel like a lot of things would have gone differently in the villa had Sean not have gone home in like the first week because I think that Sean would have been a great pairing for Anaya and that could have been something worth exploring. She could have saved Anaya from the experience of KC. But that's just me and how I feel. And I also would like to point out, speaking of KC, I thought it was a little funny how TT was telling KC how, she likes coffee and how essentially she was hinting at wanting coffee, wanting him to make her coffee with her food that morning. And Casey said that gal's gone, so essentially don't expect no coffee. I was like, hold up, Casey, being funny. I don't know about it. But he did bring a mug up with TT's food, and I was like, "Oh, okay. You was just cracking a joke. You was just trying to be funny. Okay, whatever." But I was like, "Hold up, wait a minute." I like I said earlier, I said that Trinity and Bryce was getting some. Okay, And then I put they're the only people in a relationship. So, okay. So Melanie and Kinsey were having a conversation, and I believe that this is about the voting and how Melanie was explaining why she voted the way she did in the vote the night prior. And um, Melanie was saying to Kinsey, how during that whole situation, she didn't, Kinsey didn't check in on Melanie, and how, you know, she was just feeling like Kinsey saying that Melanie's her best friend, but Melanie does not feel like Kinsey is her best friend. The reason why Melanie feels that way about Kinsey and the fact that, Kinsey didn't check up on her during that time when Melanie ended up getting recoupled, or everybody ended up getting recoupled, was because Melanie was paired with Corbin. Kinsey obviously wanted to be with Corbin. So whether Melanie chose to be with Corbin or not, Kinsey was jealous. And what better way to get back at somebody or find a friend in somebody than with somebody who is your enemy? So Kinsey took it upon herself to befriend Soul because Kinsey knew that Melanie was upset with Soul being paired with Sincere. That's the only explanation, because Kinsey's saying, I just wanted to befriend Soul because, you know how she was in the villa and blah 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 blah. Which there may be some truth to that. We do know that post her villa experience, Soul was talking about, her how everybody was clicked up, how she felt like she was an outsider and whatever else. I didn't really look too much into the things that Soul had to say just because I don't watch After Sun, and two, sometimes unless I really, really like somebody, oops, unless I really, really like somebody, I'm not like following up on their social medias and trying to see what they have to say. Um, However, Soul and Kinsey choosing to be friends with Soul was a very calculated move. And she did that intentionally because she was mad at the fact that Melanie was paired up with Corbin. So she felt like she couldn't talk to Melanie. And that's just my 2 cents on that, and that's how I feel, and Imma stick by that because I saw it then, and I feel like I said something about it somewhere online. Um, I said something about that somewhere online then, and I still believe that to be true. And even if I didn't say something about it online, I think I said it to the girls in the group chat, okay? Um Yes. And I said that there may have been multiple reasons to that pairing, Kinsey and Soul, but that was her cop out answer that she gave Melanie. I 100% stand by that statement. And so, towards the end of the episode, we get into the challenge, and the challenge was karaoke. Loved it. I love a karaoke moment. I love like people just having fun, and I felt like everybody in their couples were very, very cute doing the challenge and singing the songs and doing their dance. Um, I think that Parmita is hilarious. I think that her yodeling and doing this opera singing, too funny. I forgot what song they did, but I liked it. I liked their performance, and I felt like they had chemistry. They did the Nelly song Dilemma, with Kelly Rowland. I liked it. I thought it was cute. I thought they were cute, and I feel like seeing more of them solidified their chemistry to me. They definitely had chemistry. Like, I feel like they have I remember Corbin saying that, they had a lot of the same values and they believed in the same types of things, which would be, I feel like, being pretty and, keeping up with themselves and, um, being they have like a weird like GPT Alexa connection. Um, I had to make sure my Alexa didn't even go off. Um, but yeah, they have a weird like to other people it can be superficial connection, but I think that there may have been a little bit more there. And seeing their interactions with one another definitely was it solidified that to me. I'm a fan of them. I like them. And I think that they were really funny. And I hate the fact that we didn't get to see more of their connection and their interaction and just how they were together because of all of the other drama going on. I'm actually upset about that. I'm upset about that. And I'm still upset about, yes, I'm going back to this, the fact that Melanie and Corbin couldn't really explore their connection because of Insincere's lies. Oh my gosh. Ugh. I think that TT and Casey killed the choreography. They did a pretty good job. And I think I think it was Casey, he hit that first note. I was like, "Oh, excuse me, Casey." Yeah, they did a really good job. I liked it. I liked it. Um, I think if because Ariana said that they were grading on like a couple of things, and one of the things was the chemistry. I feel like it was missing just a little bit of chemistry, like the chemistry part, but all the other part, including like technicality with the dancing and um the music and the singing and all that kind of stuff. I think they had all the other stuff. To me, it was just the chemistry. Um, but I thought it was cute. Kate and Zach, they were cute. It was a slower song. Personally prefer um more upbeat songs for karaoke because I feel like it gets the crowd involved. When you're doing karaoke, you want something that other people can sing along to with you. Like the purpose of karaoke, in my humble opinion, is not to sound good. It's not to, put on a show for real for real. Um I feel like it's about incorporating everybody and everybody singing along and everybody having fun. That's what I feel like karaoke is, and I don't think that slow songs do that. I feel like you have to have more of an upbeat song, something that everybody can sing along to, unless we're all purposefully singing this super slow song terribly together, and then that makes it a good time, you know? And I think coming off of Kata and Zach, I think that Melanie and Sincere doing the one that I want from Greece was very appropriate. And that's all I have to say about that. Anaya and Carl's performance was cute with Senorita. Um, I feel the same way that I felt about Kata and Zach's with that one. It was slow, in my opinion. It was a more upbeat song than Kata and Zach's, but it still felt slow to me. And I just don't think that that's a good karaoke choice. But it was cute. I loved Trinity and Bryce's No Air. That was cute. I loved the little choreography that they did, him lifting her up in the air, him trying to hit this pin drop. It was very them. And Trinity looked real cute while doing it. I love that. Um, and then I was very surprised by Dylan and Kenzie's performance. Don't Go Breaking My Heart was very cute, a very good choice for karaoke. It was upbeat. They went to the crowd, they got crowd participation. I genuinely was like, "Oh yeah, they've got that. They got that in the bag." Um, they definitely got my vote with that one. And then I feel like the next up for that one was Parmita and Corbin, in my humble opinion. I think that they really embodied everything that karaoke is. Because karaoke is not to be perfect. And they sung, they had fun, and they put on a show. I genuinely and like I said before, I love seeing their chemistry, seeing them interact together it made me understand more and more why they were paired together versus it just being about like how hot they were. You know? Even though I'm pretty sure who said that? Zach. Zach said that when they first got started, like, oh, they're so hot. They are. They are a very attractive couple. Um, but I was very, very, very annoyed that Corbin and Parmita had to go home. If it was up to me and obviously all of America, they, meaning Kenzie and Dylan, would have gone home. And in my humble opinion, they do need to go home. I think that, like I said earlier, Kenzie and Dylan. I don't know why I keep wanting to say his name, but I think that Zach needs to go home too. But because Kata was part of the core four, because Kata is part of the initial people, not really, because she was a bombshell. So because Kata is so cemented in the villa, people weren't going to vote her home, which automatically makes Zach safe. And Zach, if we pay attention to his track record, he is literally flying under the radar for the things that he has been doing in this villa, for the ups and downs that he's been like the little small things that he's been doing to Kata, talking about he's not gonna make breakfast, like you gonna have to make breakfast on your own, lying about the girl and that um what's that girl's name? Alana in Casa, and saying, I was gonna pick you, I was gonna pick you, it was always gonna be you, but she got sent home and you didn't feel the need to say that. Like there's a lot of different things that it's like, why is she being why does she continue to choose him? I feel like I wish she would have explored more in Casa, um, and just went a different direction with that. But I don't know, child, because we saw the preview for the next episode and it looked like Zach was really in his feelings about something and maybe he'll self-eject. I don't know. But yeah, I was annoyed because I felt like we didn't really get to see Corbin and Parmita's connection. We didn't get to see um their compatibility really, but we could kind of tell that they were compatible. I will say that I didn't really like Corbin when he first came into the villa. But one thing about this show is that it definitely gives you more information as the weeks go on and you start to grow to like people, especially as you're seeing more of their personalities. When people first come into the villa, they don't really, you know, they're trying to gain their footing. They're trying to see where they fit in within the villa and the villa dynamics and all these different things. So of course it's going to be a little shaky when you first get in there. But after some weeks, obviously, Corbin has grown on me and I think that his personality is really funny even though inside the villa and out here we were calling him ChatGPT, which he still seems like a robot to me. He still seems very mechanical and like I don't know if methodical is the right word, but he just seems very zeros and ones. But as we got to see more of his personality, I really liked him. And he definitely is the type of person where it's like, he might be a F boy. Like, that just might be how he gets down. But he's honest about it. He is very like, this is who I am. You can take it or leave it. And I feel like you can appreciate that kind of person, especially if you're comparing it to these people like Casey and Sincere. Um, yeah, but I was a fan of Corbin, and by proxy, I was a fan of Parmita. And then seeing more about Parmita, it was like, okay, well, I like them together. They're cute. They make sense as to why they're paired up. Um, and I one thing that the show also shows me is that, you know, with more information, I told the girls in the group chat, I was like, "I feel like I'm wishy-washy because I really like Corbin now, even though I just didn't like him a couple weeks ago." Um, but that just shows that, you can grow to like people. That just shows that your mind can change about things, and that the first way that you meet somebody is not the end all be all to them. And it's like, yes, we do know and yes, we do understand these things, but this show, specifically this one, but reality TV shows in general can make you, you know, change your views on someone when you get more information. And that's in general how life goes anyway. Let me just read this final sentence that I have. And I said, I'm annoyed because Corbin and Parmita should have stayed. They're more compatible than Kinsey and Dylan, in my opinion, and that's for sure. And then I said that Corbin tearing up got me tearing up a little bit because first of all, who knew that a robot could cry? um, but I was really enjoying Corbin's personality and then seeing more of Parmita. And I know that they did that on purpose because obviously they saw the end and how they got sent home. So of course they had to see more. They had to put more of them in the show because they were gonna be heading out. I wish they could have stayed. I really, really enjoyed them. I liked them. And yeah, I guess we'll see how the villa feels. I mean, we already kind of see how they feel at the end of this episode, but we'll really get to see like their conversations about and Parmita and their feelings about it in tomorrow night's episode, which I'm excited about. Um, I'm always excited when it comes to Love Island. Love Island is a very interesting show to watch when you take so many things into account: psychology, sociology, um, economics, racial, what is the word? Racial understanding, um, and even beauty standards, and how all of these different things play into each other, and the dynamics within the villa and the producers and them essentially producing a TV show, like putting these things up there for everybody to see, the editors, even Ian's commentary, like all these things play into how we view and how we see what's going on. Um, yeah. So it's all very interesting to me. Let me know if you're enjoying the reviews that I'm doing and what other shows, cuz this show Love Island is coming to an end here pretty soon. So let me know what other shows you would like, to see a review of. And I will let you know if I'm interested in that, if I want to give you my opinion on that, if you're even enjoying what I have to say. So yes, leave a like and a comment. Let me know if there's something that I missed in the episode and we can chat about it in the comments. But yeah, and what was your favorite part of tonight's show and who do you think gave the best performance? That's what I want to know. I want to know what y'all thought about it. Let me know below. Make sure you guys follow me on TikTok because I do put reviews on there of shows kind of in the moment sometimes. So follow me on my TikTok. All my socials are down there in the description bar. And yeah, I think that's probably everything I have to discuss. I'm really excited to be doing this. I recorded a video, which I don't know, that might not be out when this is out, but and I said that I wanted to be more consistent in my uploading of things and stuff like that. And so it just really starts with just doing it. And so that's me doing this. This is me just doing it because I've been wanting to do this for a while. And so I felt like the perfect time to do this was with Love Island. And I was doing all of my reviews and stuff on TikTok, but it's probably important for me to put them on YouTube. Anyway, if no one has told you today, I love you, and I hope that you love you. But most importantly, God, the Father of Abraham, loves you. And I hope that you all have a great evening. day or morning, wherever it is where you are, whatever it is where you are. Um, yeah, love you guys. Bye.